say, what's that? It's Pat.
Okay, I'll try that again. Hey, this is I don't know. So, hi everyone. This is Patrick Argiro, aka Cousin Pat, and I'm here with UFC fighter Eryk Anders. Did I say that correctly? Anders?
Hey, what's going on, brother? Thank you for having me.
No problem. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, your phone kind of, well, not, the thing kind of froze for a second, but I got you now.
Dude, I live in the country and I have done 12 different things to get this thing to work. And the reality is I just live in the country. Like the other day I was in my front lawn and there were 12 chickens and ducks. And my neighbors were picking them up, and I was just like, all right, this is not Miami anymore. So,
Where are you saying?
I'm in Polk County.
Polk County, Florida?
Yeah. It's in, it's about an hour from Tampa and about 45 minutes from Orlando. So it's a little bit country, but so let's get started. First of all, congratulations on the win.
Man, thank you so much.
That must have felt great, right?
Well, it was, kind of a monkey off my back, the fight before that was a loss. And then it had been over a year since I fought. And then that fight, the first fight was no contest. And then that I was, winning pretty convincingly. And then got ruled no contest. And then, got to fight him again and finally got the W. So, it's great to be back in the win column.
Yeah, I'm sure that feels good. And you've been in the UFC for quite a while now. You've been in it since 2017. Can you hear me?
Man, your phone. I'm in the airport. Let me try and move closer to the window. Give me 1 second.
Okay, no problem.
I'll sit here.
Let me just check something while you're doing that. Okay.
See if I get a better reception over here. All right. About that.
Yeah, I mean, these things happen. It is what it is. So I appreciate you taking this call from the airport, though. That's really cool. That's very nice of you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife and I are heading to Brazil, so it'll be a good time.
Okay. So let me ask you. So this show is about it's not an MMA show, although the MMA guys are so cool because you all say, "Yeah, I'll do it." I've interviewed about 10 of you guys, and you're like the coolest. The actresses and the politicians are like, can you send me something? But you guys are like really, really cool. So you fluctuate as far as in the weight classes. So you fought light heavyweight, heavyweight, and middleweight. Is that correct?
Sorry, it cut off after you said heavyweight or light heavyweight.
So you fought in different divisions, is what I'm saying.
Yep. Man, I truly love what it is that I do, and so I try to get in where I fit in. And sometimes I get, they offer me 205 fights. Sometimes they offer me middleweight fights, and the weight really doesn't matter to me, really. So I'm just happy to fight when I can, at whatever weight I can.
The attitude that I've seen, or the attitude that basically that I've when I watch your interviews and stuff, when you're talking about training camp or your coaches, is you say, "I'm the horse, I'm the thoroughbred." So, what does that mean? I mean, I know what it means, but go into it a little bit. Like you're just basically you do what you're told. Is that? I don't want to what does that mean exactly?
No, it's not that. It's I just have a hard time saying no, and like I said, I thoroughly enjoy and love what it is that I do. So, what difference does the opponent or weight make? So, a lot of people say they want to fight and be a fighter. But do they really mean that, or are they really just trying to, take easy fight, handpick their opponents, and try to go the easy route? That's not me. Obviously some fights are easier than others. Some guys that I fought are better than others, but man, outside of like having an injury where I couldn't fight, I've never said no.
Right. It's kind of like sort of like Cowboy Cerrone, like that kind of mentality.
Yeah, sure. And I hope to have the success that guy's had in the past. And, I think there's something admirable about, guys with that mindset and, that will go out there and do that. Guys like Cowboy, myself, and, there's a few other fighters that are like that as well.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you, what do you walk around at when you're not training? What do you walk? You're 6'1", right? What are you walking around at? About, I'm going to guess 220.
Yeah, my weight fluctuates anywhere between 220, 230. Right after a fight, I'll hit 240 because, especially now, like I'm away from the family for, 8-9 weeks at a time. So, and, especially when I fight at 85, my diet is so strict, and,
Yeah, I would think.
I have to do everything right. And then, after I fight, I sit down for a little bit and, give myself some recuperation time, and, eat till I hate myself. And then I start going back to the gym and training and getting back in shape and stuff. But, whenever I fight at 85, I balloon up way more than when I fight at 205. I think it's just because of like the stress or whatever, or the extreme of one diet to another, doing everything right. And then I don't eat anything green or barely drink water. I'm sitting here drinking whiskey as I'm talking to you.
For real? Are you really?
After a fight. So I think, I think after I fight, when I fight at middleweight, my body just kind of holds on to everything a little bit more.
I have to drink before I get on an airplane too. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I have to drink before I get on an airplane. It's one of the worst things in the world for me. But hey, man, I wish I was there with you. But I hope you're enjoying the whiskey. Is airport whiskey good?
It's it's just Crown. Crown is Crown, no matter where you're at.
Yeah, I know. So let me ask you this. I want to get into your early career. You kind of remind me. I talked to this other gentleman. He fought in Bellator. He fought in the Ultimate Fighter. He never made it to the UFC. Tyler King. Are you familiar with him?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he was on the Ultimate Fighter season 19. He got knocked out. He's a former NFL player. And he reminds me of you in the sense of he went to the NFL because you signed a contract with the Browns, correct?
Yeah.
And he also, I forget what team he played for. I have a brain thing, TBI. But then you, after that, you still...
I fight, get it.
What's that?
I said, I fight, I get it. I get the, forgetting things and letting things slip your mind,
Oh, I got it. Oh, no, I actually have a TBI. It's part of my journey. And I'm actually doing a podcast with this woman, and I'm going to mention your name on that podcast, but she gets a lot of streams. Her podcast is big time. And that's part of my journey. Is I used to be a homeless guy. I lived in shelters, and now I'm a therapist.
Nice.
And I like hearing about people's journeys, So after the NFL, you actually went to the CFL, and then you tried arena football. Is that correct?
Yep.
You just love football. You love football.
I got at the time it was my life, In my time I would have killed to play in the NFL, That was my dream ever since I was a child, ever since I started playing, watching guys like Barry Sanders and Sean Marion and all the guys, playing football, just, growing up and wanting to do that. Because I already knew at a young age that sitting at a desk and punching numbers and sitting at a computer wasn't going to work for me. I knew that.
No, it
And so
blows.
I thought that, being an athlete was the I thought being an athlete was the best gig you could get.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I went to mini camp with the Browns. Got cut. Went to Canada, got cut. Played a year of arena ball, and slowly but surely realized that the dream of playing football for a profession and getting paid to do it was not in the cards for me.
See, now this is about you. It's not about anybody else, but I like talking. And Tyler King did the same. Well, he went NFL Europe when they had that, and then he went arena. So that's interesting that you guys, like, you can't, you love it so much. It's part of who you are. And you were a very good player. I'm sorry, I'll let you answer. I'm chatty.
What was the question? Your
No,
thing
I'm just
froze.
saying. I was just saying about Tyler King that he went from NFL Europe to arena, and it's just, football is just part of who you guys are. Sometimes it's like you've been doing it since you're kids.
Yeah, and everybody who plays ball, like even in high school, has dreams of playing college ball. Beyond that, I think everybody who plays football, at some point, wants to play in the NFL, because what cooler job is that than to be
Oh,
a professional football player? But
I mean
only
that.
1%, yeah, only 1% of 1% makes it. Even a smaller percentage plays past 3 years. So, it was just, at the time, it was what I knew, what my passion was, and really kind of my identity as a person was football player.
Which I understand. We all sort of we sort of kind of go to this identity that we have. Mine is like I'm a funny guy. Like hey, like my friends tell me who are football players. Hey, we invite you because you make us laugh. But sometimes I don't want to laugh. Sometimes I just want to relax. But it's like,
Yeah, sure.
make us joke, make us laugh, clown, make us laugh. Because I'm a former stand-up comedian, and sometimes I'm like, you know what? I just had a bad day, but whatever. So you played football at let's see, you played football at Valley High School, and then you went to the University of Alabama, and you played from 2006 to 2009. Is that correct?
That's it.
And you were like a pretty good player in the 2009 BCS national championship against Texas Longhorns. You had 7 tackles and a forced fumble.
Yeah, that was probably my best game of the season.
Wow.
And what a time to show up. In the last game of the season, championship, Rose Bowl, playing Texas. Austin, Texas is like 90 miles from where I grew up in San Antonio. So, they didn't offer me a scholarship coming out of college, which is why I went to Bama in the first place. And so I kind of played in that game with the chip on my shoulder.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that must have got you a lot of attention. A lot of attention. Can you hear me?
Yep.
No, I said that must have gotten you a lot of attention, because that was a great game to shine. That, if that's the time to do it.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I was, very undersized for my position, and to be honest, I kind of outplayed my ability and potential, if that makes any sense.
So tell me how it feels on July 23rd, 2017. How do you feel when you make your debut? Are you just like, is that one of the best days of your life besides marrying your wife who's right there?
I don't know, man. I've been there for the birth of my son. So
I didn't say the best day. I didn't say
so
the best day.
man, it was a good day.
Good
It was
day.
a great day.
Yeah.
Yeah, top 5 for sure.
Yeah, definitely got to be top 5. Can't be the top 1. Can't be top 1. Yeah.
It's just hard to order those things, but I don't know. I just everything like went perfect that day. I woke up on the right side of the bed. I felt good. I felt great. My weight was good. And as soon as my feet touched the canvas, walking into the octagon, I just knew that I was going to knock this guy out. 100% wasn't a doubt in my mind. I just knew that I was going to knock Rafael out.
Let me ask you a question, because I got so many questions, and then I want to get to because what I do is I ask questions and people learn lessons from just your answers, just from like, what you like what you said, like you realized that your career in football was over, you were undersized, so there's lessons there. But so I have questions, and the answers are sometimes hidden in these questions, because this isn't an MMA show, but I've interviewed like 10 MMA people in Bellator and UFC, and one real estate mogul. And you want to know what's funny? Ali Aquinta, I asked him to do the podcast. And you know what he said? Can I see the podcast with that real estate lady? I was like, I thought that was so fun. He like wants to, he's already thinking like in his future and stuff, because he does real estate too. So, and he's a favorite of mine because I'm a Long Island boy. But let me ask you something. Is the level of excitement or the level of competition, is it, no disrespect to Bellator, because I saw you fought in Bellator, but is it a different feeling in the UFC versus Bellator, or is the competition equally as good? Obviously, Bellator's top 3, UFC, 1 championship. I think Bellator's right there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the level of competition and the consistency and good matchups is definitely bar none the UFC.
Okay.
And I did fight in Bellator first, and I was super excited to fight in Bellator, but I was fighting on the undercard, just kind of filling the undercard because Bellator came to Memphis. Memphis is about 4 hours from Birmingham, so the only reason why we got on there is because they have the local promoters match the undercard, and they bring in whoever they brought in for the main card. And so I think the guy I fought was 5-5 as a pro, or something like 500 as a pro, so I knew he wasn't like very good, and I knew that I was going to smoke him and end up knocking him out in like 24 seconds. So like when I made my UFC debut, it was on 10 days notice. I was fighting a guy who used to be in the top 15, decorated black belt, like a Renzo Gracie black belt.
You beat Brian White, by the way.
He beat Brian White?
You beat
Brian
White.
Yeah. Bellator, yeah.
Yeah.
And
shout out to Brian White. So
I knew that and then the UFC is like the pinnacle of the sport. Everybody wants to fight in the UFC. UFC is like the NFL. So I was like, cool, I didn't make it in the NFL, but I'll make it in the NFL of MMA. So
you made it to the show. You made it to the show.
Yeah. Yep.
You're yeah.
It was super exciting for me, and like I said, that's where everybody wanted to fight. So
since the UFC's been featured more on now they have a deal with ESPN. Have you become more recognizable because of the platform of ESPN?
Yes, 100%.
I would think so. Yeah.
I think their first fight on ESPN was when they were in Minneapolis, and I knocked the guy out probably a minute and a half into the fight, and I think after that fight, actually either that fight or Thiago Santos was when I got like the most, just walking through a casino in Vegas and say, Eryk, the most recognition. So yeah, it was them being on ESPN is a really big deal.
I have to ask this, and I'm sorry if this brings up a bad memory for you, because it ended in a loss. But and I'm sorry, but what was it like? Lyoto Machida. Like, to me, to me, he's a legend. To me, he's a legend. That front kick to Randy Couture, that's like top 10. So what was that? When you went into that fight, were you thinking like, or this is just another opponent, or like, what were your thoughts? I'm sorry to ask you about that because I know it's a loss.
No, it's all good.
We learn from
I
our
mean,
losses, right? We learn from our losses. You
sure. I
probably
mean,
learned a
I
lot.
asked for that fight, so
What's that?
yeah, it's a guy I wanted to fight. It's a guy I watched fighting, while I was playing ball. Probably the first fight of MMA that I ever watched was him and Shogun. So,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, I was super excited to go to his hometown, go to Brazil, go fight. I know the Brazilian fans are super passionate about MMA. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was a great experience. I thought that I won. I think that he thought that he lost and that I won. But I had some opportunities in there to finish the fight, but didn't quite get it done. So, I just learned that you got to finish fights.
Yeah. Right.
Especially fighting in somebody else's backyard.
Exactly. You didn't embarrass yourself in any way. And what's it like to win performance of the night? That's got to be cool because that comes with a financial gain, right?
Yeah. Even in a loss, picking up a bonus, it makes the pain. You get hit a lot. You get, things break. Break your nose. Whatever. But man, it all hurts a little bit less whenever you realize 50 more G's is coming to the bank account.
Now, let me ask you something, because I am a former stand-up, and I mean no disrespect, right? Because I know you're married.
Oh, man, I'm bulletproof. It'd be really hard to hurt my feelings.
Okay, so is Conor McGregor correct that it's red panty night? When you win performance of the night, like, that's a good night, right? That's a good... Like, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, the wife is like, you are the most handsome man in the world. Hey,
she really thinks that too, by the way.
You are a very handsome man.
But yeah, especially when you win, it's cool to get like fight of the night. I think the only time I got fight of the night was a loss, so it hurt a little bit less, But to get performance of the night, and like a knockout win, I've done it twice, and that's a pretty exhilarating feeling. Like, you're back at the hotel after the fight, you've already showered, you come back, you're having a drink, you're having a good time, you're already on cloud nine, you just won, you knock somebody out. And then your manager comes up, taps you on the shoulder and was like, hey, you got, that extra 50 G's, this round's on me,
Oh my God, that must be, Michael Bisping told a story once where he broke, he said, fought in the UFC, got fight of the, I don't know if it was performance or fight of the night, and he says Dana White hands him 70 grand or something. He was like the happiest, he was on cloud nine. He was like, oh my God. Like, it's on YouTube, but that's a story Michael Bisping told. So that must be an incredible feeling. And I like Michael Bisping. So that must be an incredible feeling. That's great, and it shows
like I
that
said, especially when you already got both checks, and now you got a third one on the way.
Yeah,
50 G's. It's not like life changing, but me and my wife have bought a house. I bought houses for that. So
hey, that's
that 50 G's is going to turn into much more down the line. So that's how I look at it. I was like, okay, it's 50 now, but in 5 years, that's going to be, 200, 250,
Because you're being smart. You're investing. So you're investing in real estate. Did you hear me?
Nah, what'd you say?
No, I said, so you're being smart about it. You're investing in real estate.
Yeah. Me and my wife own, I believe it's 13 houses. That includes the one that we live in. So we have 12 rental properties.
I did that back in my 20s. I had like 20 rental properties. And
in your 20s? Man,
yeah.
You got to figure it out that early, man.
I'm 40.
My wife got to put me on game.
Hey, man, 13 is good, man, because that's going to build your net worth. And if you're able to pay them off cash, that's awesome. And I'm not asking about your business. That's your business. But I'm very happy for you. And that's a good lesson for people to learn. Like, if you have the opportunity, put it in real estate. I just recently purchased the house I'm living in, and I know that it's going to go up in value. It's already gone up in value, and in this market right now, it's just going crazy. It's just going crazy right now.
Real
So
estate where it's at is where it's at, man. You can't build any more earth.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So let me ask you one more UFC type question, and then I want to ask you more, like, about how you think and you process information and things like that. And if you don't want to answer this question, you don't have to. I'll just ask you. I won't ask you who your least favorite is, but who's your favorite referee? Who is the guy that when you get in there, he's not going to stop it too early. He's not gonna fuck it up. Because like some guys they stop early, and then other guys they wait, and then the guy turns around and wins, and you're like, wow.
Man, I think that I have a few. I think Jason Herzog is
Okay.
one of the best in the business. Him, Mark Smith, and Keith Peterson. I really don't pay attention to the referee in other fights, but those guys have all refed my fights, and man, I think they have done a fabulous job, top to bottom. Yeah, so those are my favorite three personally.
I think they call Jason Herzog, or they every time they're announcing, no nonsense. Jason
That's
Herzog.
Keith Peterson.
Keith Peterson. I'm sorry, I screwed that up. Sorry, Keith. Sorry, Jason. But yeah, I was watching. I was like, he never smile. He just looks like, but he's good. Keith Peterson. Okay, but well, that's great. So let me ask you now, how do you deal? Like when you have you ever dealt with any diversity in your life, or any situations when you were younger, or any situations even when you were older, and how did you get through it? Because a lot of people are dealing with, especially now, a lot of people dealing with stress, anxiety, trauma. I lost my dad during COVID, so I dealt with grief, but because I was able to kind of shift my thoughts on how I handled it, I could deal with it okay, although I'm still pissed off. So what are some of the things that you've gone through that you've had to kind of work through? Were you able to hear me?
Yeah, I think I've always had kind of a pretty resilient personality. Not much bothers or affects me, and if it does, kind of give it 24 hours. I too have lost my father. Obviously, that takes a little bit longer than 24 hours to get over it, if you ever get over it. But time moves forward, and it doesn't ever stop or slow down. So, I mean, you can like trip and stumble, but at the end of the day, man, you gotta get up and keep it moving. So, I just don't let things affect me longer than they need to, and keep it moving.
And you have a good support system, right? Your wife and your family, and
yeah. Everybody's kind of bought into my journey, and so even after a loss, my wife competes. She does jiu-jitsu. The boys wrestle, and they do jiu-jitsu as well. So they understand what it is to go out there and lose a match. None of them get punched in the face or fighting on TV in front of millions of people or nothing like that. But to the best of their ability, they kind of understand what it is that I'm doing. So they win with me and they lose with me, and it's cool to have the people around you that you love the most, kind of doing what it is that you do as well on a much, obviously on a much smaller scale, but at the same time, they know what it's like to go out there and get body slammed and pinned in, 10, 15 seconds, or, get choked out or whatever. So they kind of understand. We understand each other in the realm of competition.
is your wife a fighter as well on a regional, or no? She just kind of practiced.
She just fights in the streets. But no, she does jiu-jitsu, man. She just won the American Nationals this past weekend. She's the
All right.
number one in the world in her weight class and division.
What's her
So,
name? What's her name?
Yasmin.
Yasmin. Shout out to Yasmin. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's
She's
good. Let's give
pretty
her a little
vicious.
attention. Why not? Yasmin, way to go. That's great. So you did you say that you lost your father as well? Eryk, did I lose
Yes,
you?
sir.
Did you
I'm here
say
now.
did you say you lost your father as well?
I did. Yep.
Okay, how long ago?
2007, I believe.
Okay. Wow. So here's a question that I have for you, because you said you're an open book. You said, and these are questions you can't. So when I'm with clients, or I've had peers that are with clients, and I asked my mother this, because she's still going through it, and you can't ask this too soon, because if you ask it too soon, people are going to think you're crazy. But there's a question that as a therapist you can ask the patient with some time. And the question is, what positive thing came from the loss? If I were to ask you, I know it sounds like a crazy question. Like,
No.
it sounds like a crazy question, right? But for some people, there's a gentleman who said, I stopped drinking. For my mother, she said, I became more independent. I valued my father
For
more.
myself,
Yeah, for
it's kind of a crazy story because we played in the Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I didn't play a single down in the game. So I remember talking. We went out. I was 19. I used my brother's ID. We went and gambled. Had a good time, and we came back to the room. And I told him, I was like, man, I'm leaving Alabama. I felt like I was a lot better than I really was, and I felt that I should have been playing more and yada yada yada. So I told him, I was like, man, I'm leaving. I'm transferring. I want to play because obviously my dream was to go play in the NFL, and it's hard to do that sitting on the bench, right? And I think I was a redshirt sophomore, and man, him and I and my older brother one of my older brothers was sitting there playing cards, and I'm telling him how frustrated I was and I wanted to leave and blah blah blah. And he was like, nah, you need to stay where you're at. At least you graduate. Worst case scenario, you graduate, you get a degree. Yeah, you can go get a job. So I was like, all right. And then he passed away that night. He went to sleep and never woke back up. And so I kind of hold that last conversation that we had very near and dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward 3 years later, we win a national championship and I graduate. And, that wouldn't be part of my story, winning a national championship, if I had did what I wanted to do instead of doing what he thought was best, which turned out to be best. So it was good that we got to have that last conversation.
That's great, man. That's a beautiful story. Yeah, that's good that you were able to have that. And I want people out there listening that, right now, if you're in gloom, that it never goes away, but it will diminish. And then, you could look at the positives in the situation. So I have a fun question now, because that was very sad. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
I have a fun question now. You're a pretty big guy anyway. But do people sometimes not? Because I'm like a little boy. When guys fight, or could Superman beat up Green Lantern? The answer is yes. But when you're walking around, if you're married now, so you're settled. But when you're going out, or have people ever tried you not knowing who you are, or does that not happen anymore? Because I've heard stories of other UFC fighters, like Mickey Gall told a story about that, but these aren't big guys. So
more so, like, I'll be hanging out with a buddy of mine, and he'll introduce me to somebody and be like, he's a UFC fighter. And, you know, they'll do the whole, you know, look you up and down, especially if we're like in an environment where alcohol is like at a bar or something like that. And they'll be like, oh, I'm undefeated in street fights. Oh, that's funny. So am I. You know. So yeah, you know, it happens. I try not to wear any UFC gear anywhere for that reason, just because I'm a low key dude. I like to just get where I'm going and have a good time and kick it. You know, I'm not trying to fight anybody or, you know, getting any kind of altercations. So yeah, you know, it used to happen a lot.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. And you've like you probably dropped people, right?
Man, it's never come to that. Fortunately, not in my adult life, but
As a kid.
you know, my whole life growing up, yeah, dude, I fought all the time just because I liked it.
Do you
And,
know?
you know, being young kid, impulsive, you know, it's all the kids fought in my neighborhood growing up, so you know, it wasn't anything to get in a fight.
Do you know? You know? I'm not sure if you know who Vince Pichel is.
Yes, I do. From Help Michelle, yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So I had him on, and he was telling me a story because I asked his opinion about War Machine, and I forget the gentleman's real name, and he actually grew up in the same town as War Machine. I'm so sorry that I don't know his name, but it's not like he's some great human being, so it doesn't really matter. But he was telling stories that they would get into like these massive fights, and War Machine was like this roided out high school jock, and Vince was like a skater, and they'd have these.
They went to high school together.
No, they didn't go to the same high school, different high schools. But so you know how local, like I went to East Islip, and Islip High School was like a 5 minute drive. So the kids would always fight. And so that was like that kind of situation. And he says once he threw a brick at War Machine, and War Machine just looked at him, and Vince said he ran. This is before he was a fighter. But I mean, I hear these stories and just like, wow. Like it's amazing. They didn't go to the same high school, but they lived in the same town. And this is prior to, you know, both of them having their UFC careers. But so, you know what's funny about what you just said is a lot of guys do that, where they think, well, he's a UFC fighter, and I'm a street fighter, so I could take him. Like, you could turn into a street fighter very easily. You follow the rules because you're supposed to, but you could very easily start doing things that you're not allowed to do. And I think like some of these guys are just like, you know, I see the ears, I go, no, I'm good. Yeah, excuse me.
Well, man, I think the guys who do that, it's an insecurity issue. You
Sure.
know, they're not comfortable with their manhood or with themselves, whatever. So, you know, they see this guy as a fighter. You know, this is what I do. It's my profession. I'm not going to do it if I'm not getting paid or I don't want to. I like to get paid to do it. So
You're a
I'm not
prize
going to do it
fighter.
at a bar. You know, yeah, exactly. You know, so I'm not looking for trouble. I'm just looking to, you know, sip my whiskey and have a good time. But you know, guys who have never trained, it's really, you know, those guys who have never trained have been, you know, really put in a bad position that do that kind of stuff, that posture and feel the need to do these things. You know, there's not a whole lot of MMA fighters looking to go to a bar to get in a fight. You know, they get it all out of their system in the gym when they're training in an actual fight or whatever. You know, so it's definitely a maturity and insecurity complex.
And I've had some fighters tell me that the training uh, really helps them with, like, you know, not that they're depressed, but sometimes situational depression. And I remember when I was able to work out like that, and you get that it gets out of you, and your dopamine goes up. So do you feel that too? Like you feel like you're tired, you're exhausted, but you feel like you're more settled after a nice workout.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really kind of the reason why I got into MMA, because, you know, I was just frustrated uh, with everything, with not, you know, playing ball anymore, and you know, working various, dead end jobs. So I needed a place to go blow off some steam and let it out. And, there's where I fell in love with it. And that's, I decided after training, it's like, hey, I think I could do this and I want to do it. It's fun. And then later it turned into a passion and fall in love with it. And, next thing you know, you're waking up fighting in the UFC.
Now, were you concerned about fighting in the UFC because you are the most handsome man in America?
Because why?
Oh, the lady in the background ruined it. Hold on, let's let her finish.
Sorry.
No, I said, was there a concern? Shut up, lady. No, I'm just kidding. Was there a concern? She's a lovely lady. She's just doing her job. Was there a concern fighting in the UFC knowing that you're the most handsome man in America? Was that a problem? Like, oh my God, what if something happens?
Was there a concern with what now?
I'm trying to tell a bad joke, but what I said was there a concern, but then I'm not saying it again. Was there a concern fighting in the UFC? It's not funny after the third time. Was there a concern fighting in the UFC knowing you're the most handsome man in America and that it could ruin your face?
The phone keeps cutting out.
All right, I'm not saying it.
I think you said, is there a concern with fighting in the UFC?
Yes, because you're the most handsome man. Because you're the most handsome man in America.
Oh man, no, I knew that eventually I'd run into somebody who would mark my face up. My nose is even crooked now as we speak. So
looks good, man. Looks good.
I've lost some symmetry,
Yeah, that happened. I got punched in the face by a girl. Believe it or not.
Hey, some girls got that thump. Look at Amanda Nunes.
She just wailed me. Just my ex-girlfriend. Oh my God. But two last questions. What is your prediction for the McGregor-Poirier fight? That's the one question. If you want to give one.
I think that Poirier gets it done again, probably in the same fashion that he won the second one. He just has more ways to win, and he's got more heart, will, and determination, I feel like, than McGregor. As long as, he doesn't get put to sleep early, and if he doesn't get slept in round one, then Poirier wins that fight for sure.
And why is this isn't the last question, but why is the Diaz McGregor fight not happening? Is it just people what is the deal with that? Why is that?
I think timing has a lot to do with it. I think that Poirier turned down the belt to fight McGregor so that he could get paid, and then they put together the Leon Edwards Nate Diaz fight. Okay. But I think if those fights don't happen, then McGregor does fight Nate Diaz again. Or even if McGregor loses, he fights Nate Diaz again, But this fight makes more sense for McGregor because regardless of his last fight, if he wins this one, he's fighting Charles Oliveira for the belt. Whoever wins this fight is fighting Oliveira. So, Poirier passed up the belt to get paid. Completely understand that. But, this fight turns into a title eliminator, I think.
Who's your, if you have one, if you don't have one, that's okay. Who did you idolize growing up, or who's your favorite fighter? Past, present, doesn't matter.
Man, for sure, by far and away, Frankie Edgar.
Really?
Man, because man, I like the tough guys. I like the guy, he was super undersized. That guy would get dropped, get up and win the fight. He's just battled through so much adversity in his fighting career. And, like he said, he was a small guy. I was small for my position. So it's kind of resonated with him a little bit more than other fighters.
Okay. And what are your plans? I don't know how much longer you want to fight, but how much longer you think you want to fight? And what are your plans after fighting? Do you have an exit strategy?
My body will let me know when it's time to give it up. I'm very passionate about the sport. I love it. So, let's see. My youngest will be in 6th grade. So this coming year. So probably whenever he starts high school, I think I'll be done with this in the next few years, and yeah, and then plans after. I plan on making as much cash as I can, investing into real estate and other streams of revenue. I'm managing fighters as well now, so
That's awesome.
trying to set things up for the future.
How many kids do you have, if you don't mind me asking? That
Two.
like two boys?
There'll
Oh,
be I got two boys, 11 and 9.
are they showing interest? Well, you did say that they're learning jiu-jitsu, but are they showing
Man,
interest in football as well? And would you want them to play football, or would you want them to be a
um,
professional fighter?
my oldest, I couldn't keep him off the football field. I tried to advise him and tell him no, that you trust me, you don't want to play football this young, but I just couldn't keep him off the field. My youngest, there's not a doubt in my mind that he's going to be a fighter. There's no question. That's all he does. He lives, eats, and breathes. He even bets on fights. So
I did too.
fighting is I'm almost positive. Now he's never been punched in the nose, so that right there is the telltale. If you're going to be a good fighter or not, but we'll find out soon enough. My youngest, he's or my oldest, who plays football, he's had that crack back and got put out of a game, so he still wants to play. So I was like, okay, that's like the worst possible thing that could happen to you. So if you survive that, then you'll be cool, moving forward. But my youngest, we'll find out if he for sure. But as of right now, he that's all he does is wrestle, box, kickbox, and do jujitsu. So there's a high possibility that fighting is what he's going to do.
And how old is he again? I'm sorry if you
9.
Get what?
He's already asking when he doesn't have to go to school anymore, or if he has to go to school, or does he have to go to college? It's all he wants to do is fight.
Well, Victoria Lee just made her debut in she's 16, and that very beautiful race car driver, she's retired now. I don't recall her name, but her dad took her out of school so she could just practice race car driving. You know the famous one I'm talking about? I can't think of her name.
Danica Patrick.
Yeah, she got, but so that's amazing. Let me ask you one last thing. Did you grow up wealthy or sort of middle class?
Yeah, we were definitely a middle class family.
Okay.
My dad didn't work. My mom was in the Air Force, so we traveled around quite a bit.
Shout out to your mom.
Sir.
Well, then, I just mentioned that because now you're doing very well in life and you're about to get on the plane. So you're doing very well in life. And so I wanted the people to listen to know that you don't have to play professional football or be a fighter, but you can start from, a humble beginning or middle class, and whatever you choose to work at, you could become successful. Would you agree with that?
100%. I think it's a little bit more difficult in sports because
Of course.
you have to have a certain amount of potential to make it. There are a lot of guys who aren't very physically gifted to still make it, of course, but if you're not good at math, you can practice multiplication. Like the consequence isn't as dire. If you're not in MMA.
Uh-oh. I think we lost him. Maybe he'll pick up. Let's see. I had a good quote. It was going to make me look smart, too. But he froze. There you are. I lost you. Well, I want.
Again, if you do have an item that is too large for the overhead bin,
This is so fun.
or we run out of overhead bin spacing, please bring those items back to the front of the counter, the center aisle when you
I'm going to let you go, but I'm going to say one last thing about
bring
that.
back carrying your back to be available to you as the aircraft.
I love this stuff. This is awesome. Can you hear me? Let's watch Eryk put his luggage away. I think this is. So, I got one last thing for you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Sorry. There you go.
Okay, so I want to say one last thing to you. You are right about that. You are right about that. And Stephen A. Smith said something. He said, not everyone could be LeBron James or Michael Jordan, but everyone could be Stephen A. Smith because he worked hard. He writes. He worked hard. He got up early. He's right about this physical limitations. But so, yes, you can't, like, I can't play in the NBA. I got to, there's limitations to things, but we can achieve things if we work hard. So, that's what I want to say that. So, you're about to board an airplane, and I want to thank you for your time.
My pleasure. Anytime. Look forward to doing
And
it.
I hope to have you on again, maybe before a big fight or after a big fight. And congratulations again on your win a couple weeks ago. And congratulations for all your success. You take care of yourself. Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, brother.
All right, man. Take care.
You have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye. So that was Eryk Anders. And that was a very cool interview. Hey, man, when you get these guys, if you're able to get these guys, if they're in an airport, if they're taking a shit, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't care. About to get a colonoscopy, I mean, as long as I don't see it, I don't care. That was awesome. So that was really cool. And he took a lot of time. We spoke for about an hour. And so what I realized is I need to lose weight, and because I got real chubby. And I'm really happy that the MMA community has been so open to me. And it's because they recognize my toughness. I'm obviously very intimidating. And they see that. Alpha males recognize other alpha males. And it's the beard. So I want to thank Eryk again. And I'm going to put his Instagram and Twitter in the description. And thank you guys for watching. Talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye. I'm trying to shut this off. All right. Bye-bye, guys.